Hello everyone, this is Zenith, welcome back to Zenith Integral Academy. So today we are going to continue on our last topic, and that is block diagram and transfer function. Please make sure you subscribe to my channel, and I'm open to feedback as well, to comments. So now let's get started. So the question states that we should determine the transfer function of the given block diagram below. Now we have this given block diagram, we want to find the transfer function. And when you take a look at this block diagram, we have some elements that are forward part, while we have some elements that are what? Corresponding feedback loop elements. The forward part elements are your G1, your G2, while your corresponding feedback elements are your H1, your H2, and H3. You can see they are coming out from the what? From the output signal. So they are corresponding feedback loop elements, and these are forward part elements. And just like I told you in the last class, that you should make sure that what? All the arrows are pointing what? Each other, they are touching each other. Make sure your diagram is what? Is easily aligned. So for this question, I'm going to be using the method of row reduction method. Since I know that the transfer function of this, I can easily what now get it as it has been twisted in our last class. So let's continue now. So the first part for me to analyze is this. I can easily reduce this part to be what? G2 all over 1 plus G2H1 if I want to find the transfer function. So you draw your diagram, and this is what I'm going to be having next. So we have our input signal, we have this plus minus, we have this as well, plus minus. Now we have this G1. Now I said I can reduce this one, so if I should find the transfer function of this, so this is what is going to be its transfer function. I'm going to be having G2 all over 1 plus G2H1. So this is going to be transfer function. Then I have here my output signal. Then we have some other feedback elements, which are our H2, and similarly our H2 going to this, and our H3 going to this. Make sure it is straight. Sorry for not using ruler, I'm supposed to make use of ruler. And now put your direction, your arrow, make sure they are pointing and touching each of your rectangle or your circle. So this is what we have now. Similarly, now you can see that we are having two circle. Now similarly, you can see that we have what? Two circle now. Similarly, this is a rectangle, this is a rectangle, and I told you that what? In rectangle, they can multiply what? They multiply each other. So if G1 should multiply G2, this is what I'm going to be having. My block diagram reduces to this form. Plus, minus, plus, minus. Then I'm going to be having this. G1, G2. all over 1 plus G2H1. So this is what I'm going to be having. Now then I have my H2 feeding this, and at the same time I have my H3 now be feeding this. Make sure they align and touch each other. So this and this, then we have our output signal, just like we have this now. You can see it has reduced. Similarly, I can also use the method of no reduction and reduce this one. If I should reduce this one, you see this here, let me call everything here, let me call it M. So that if I have it as M, as an element now, so for me to use this one to get its transfer function, it's going to give me M all over 1 plus what? H2M, meaning I'll be having something like this, M all over 1 plus what? H2 what? H2M. And if that's the case now, if I'm having this, and what is my M? M is G1, G2 all over 1 plus G2 H1. So I can easily simplify it and say G1, G2 all over G2H1, now all over 1 plus, what is my H2? Is still H2. And what is my M? M is everything, which is G1, G2 over 1 plus G2H1. So from here now, I can easily simplify this and factorize. I will have G1 G2 all over 1 plus G2 H1 over, what's the LCM of this? 1 plus G2 H1 all over, now 1 in this is going to give me this times this. I will have 1 plus G2 H1 plus this can cancel this. I will have 1 times this. I will have H2 G1 G2, so this can take care of this, and my resulting answer will be G1 G2 all over 1 plus G2 H1 plus G1 G2 H2. So this is what I'm going to have if I should reduce this to a block diagram. So if that's the case now, so let's redraw our next diagram. So this is what we are going to be having next. I have my input signal, the circle, so I have here plus minus, so this has been reduced and is giving us this. Now what is it giving us? G1 G2 all over 1 plus G2 H1 plus G1 G2 H2. Then I have my output signal and couple with what? Our one feedback now, which is H3, my feedback element of H3. Then I have this. So this is what I'm going to be having. Then make sure the arrows are touching and aligned on a straight line. Now similarly we have what? We have this. For this as well, now I can also reduce this just like I did for this. Now this all over 1 plus H3 what? This will give us our final transfer function. So if I should write, this is what I'm going to be having. So we can easily do the analysis here. If I should call this one, let's say I call it P, so I'm going to be having P all over 1 plus PH3, and that will give me, you can just find somewhere and do it, and that will give us G1 G2 all over 1 plus G2 H1 plus G1 G2 H2 all over, so I have P, which is everything here, now all over 1 plus, what is P? P has turned to G1 G2, we multiply this H3 all over 1 plus G2 H1 plus G1 G2 what? H2. So this is what I'm going to be having. Sorry. So if I should have this now, I should have this here, so you can easily look for the LCM. G1 G2 all over 1 plus G2 H1 plus G1 G2 H2 all over, what's the LCM? The LCM is 1 plus G2 H1 plus G1 G2 H2. So this and this is this times 1. I will have 1 plus G2 H1 plus G1 G2 H2 plus this and this will give us 1 times this, we're having G1 G2 H3, and this can easily take care of all this. So this is what is going to be my resulting answer. So if I should withdraw my diagram now, this is what I will be having. So I'll have my output signal, my input signal rather, now to be having this, and that's going to be what? G1 G2 all over 1 plus G2 H1 plus G1 G2 H2 plus G1 G2 H3, then with my output what? With my output signal. So my given transfer function is going to be output signal over input signal is going to be G1 G2 all over 1 plus G2 H1 plus G1 G2 H2 plus G1 G2 H3. So this is what I'm going to be having. Now try and solve this question using analytical method and tell me what your answer is going to be. Definitely you are going to arrive at what? At this using the analytical method. So you can comment in the next slide, let me know what your answer is. Thank you very much. So I'm going to go to another aspect of block diagram as well, which is going to be the final part for this. Thank you very much and God bless you. Follow me on my next video. Please make sure you subscribe to my channel.